First to speak on our civil rights panel will be Mr. Jack Say, the Director of Lionheart Capital.
Civil rights to me really starts at home. It's not about going out and protecting yourself from others because we're not at war. This is something that starts at the home front, and in the Indian community, speaking for myself and my upbringing, civil rights are never taught at home. The only thing taught at home is don't worry about that stuff, just go out to school, study hard, you'll be fine. Once you get above these people, you'll be okay. You know, as a parent now of children myself, I understand the importance of teaching them about their rights. Because a lot of times, I mean, me growing up in Dearborn Heights, which at the time was called Dearborn Whites, and I was one of the only two Indians at the school, and I went through an enormous amount of violations of my civil rights just for being brown-skinned. Basically, for about a year, I used to get off the bus with my brother, and there would be a group of people, 8 to 10 people, waiting to fight us just because we didn't look like them. We'd run home, coming from a Punjabi family. My father would look at me and say, "What do you mean you're running? You stand there and fight." And we'd look at him like, "He's nuts." You know, there's 10 of them. So we're like, okay, well, we can't tell Dad no more. So then it was up to me and my brother. So we'd run this way, we were making plans, we went on the bus. Okay, once we get off, you run that way, I'll run this way. Hopefully we can make it home. And this didn't go on for a day or 2 days. This went on for 6 to 8 months to almost a year. And then finally, we're like, how many days can we keep running? And the funniest part of this is, well, it's funny now, it wasn't funny then, but it wasn't even the fact that we're Indian. You know, the discrimination is not towards Indians because at that time, most non-Indians didn't know what an Indian was. Some of them, when they were calling us Indians, they used to think we were American Native Indians. Oh, what tribe are you from? They're like, that really goes to show you the education system and teaching people on ethnicity. It wasn't there. I will say it's definitely progressed now. I mean, I think, you know, the culture differences and so forth are definitely an advancement because now people do know what India is, what Indians are. I think a lot of it has to do with the Indians' migration. I mean, since 2000, I think we've gone up 80 to 100% in numbers. So there's a lot more of us here. And the roles that we're playing now are not what they used to be. I mean, now you've got Indians in politics, governors, mayors, you've got Indian CEOs of companies. Amongst the front, you've got people like Sanjay Gupta that's on TV every day. So people relate like, oh, that's another type of Indian. There are other Indians out there. So then you see them, so that part we've gotten better with. But the part about school, Indian kids, now because you're not, you know, pretty much most of the schools in the suburbs, you're not going to be the only Indian. There's not going to be a handful of Indians. You're going to have a lot of Indians there. But that doesn't stop the fact that you're still going to be discriminated against, or your civil rights are going to be violated just because you are Indian. So I think it's very important at home to start off by teaching your kids that these things may happen. And you don't ignore that. You don't push them to a side and just continue with your education and think it's going to get better. Because you shouldn't have to go through this. You shouldn't have to worry about, am I going to get beat up or pushed or picked on today, and go forward. Because you should be able to focus on education just like everybody else. So it's very important. And I think a lot of the mockery that's come up recently, a lot of it has to do with media and TV and movies. If you look at any of the Indian roles in movies, it's usually a comedian, somebody that's got a very strong accent, you know, either a gas station or a 7-Eleven owner, which there's nothing wrong with being, and many Indians are, but there's also many Indians that are professionals, probably a lot more, that are you know, doctors, engineers, CEOs. They're not portrayed in these movies because that doesn't get their point across. They want to show that we've got an Indian gas station owner that's over there and he's got a heavy accent. Hello, how can I help you? Because that's what people want to see on TV. And I think that's the message that's got to be changed. People have got to understand that, yes, just like in any other culture, you're going to have a diverse group of people. Some will be educated, some will be business owners. It doesn't make them any more or less. And just because they're Indian, it shouldn't be any different. And then going back to discrimination, even with civil rights, I think it's more than just Indians. People, a lot of times you see an attack on an Indian, and most of the media is, he was confused for a Muslim. Had he been Muslim, was that make it correct? I mean, is that okay then? That's generally become the message. Oh, they're confusing the Indians as Muslims or they're from Pakistan. What if he was from Pakistan? How is that different? Why should he be attacked? I think the whole movement, the whole education process, everything around it should be just how not to attack somebody just because they're different. It doesn't matter what they are, Arabic, Muslim, Jewish, Greek, it doesn't make a difference. They're still human. Everybody's a human. We're all human. Everybody has to be together. You help another human. It doesn't make it right to attack anybody, no matter what they've done, what their family's done, what their ancestors have done, or where you think they're coming from. Because we're all here in America. What makes America beautiful is the rich cultural diversity that we have. That's what makes America what it is. Had America not had this, it wouldn't be the land where everybody from other countries wants to be in.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. I think a lot what you talked about, I had some of those points as well to talk about. And I think civil rights is important. I think that's why, we are in America, everybody's equal. Civil rights is a very important part of this culture. And I think, being a Sikh, looking different, you kind of see a lot of what happens to other minorities as happens to Sikhs. I mean, after 9/11, the first person that was shot was actually a Sikh. So, a Sikh community, especially the turban-wearing Sikhs, have really, faced the brunt of a lot of the backlash from 9/11. So, so I can talk about that, but, most of you know, what is happening in that arena. And then, the Oak Creek tragedy where Sikhs were killed while they were in their gurdwaras. So, so these kind of things do exist, and I think the first thing is to bring attention to them. I think once you bring attention to something, good people of this world, do something about it. So this is one of the reasons why, I'm up here trying to bring attention to it. So people who have, sitting back and not really worried about this kind of situation can look at it and say, yes, it's affecting real people. Being profiled at the airport. That was a very big concern. After 9/11, for almost 2-3 years, I didn't travel by plane because I didn't want to be profiled in any way. So I kind of, made my plans in certain ways, didn't want to travel. But now certainly it's a little bit easier, and I think, as we make progress, there's certainly going to be opportunities for people to learn and make adjustments accordingly.
Yeah. So thank you so much. A round of applause, please, for our civil rights panel.